Giant beat dude. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Dude, I am dying here. Woo! I haven't even celebrated my birthday yet. Kinda did. Very short. Good morning out there. How y'all doing? Happy Friday. I just want to sign it. Come on, Tasty. Dixie falling on the open this morning. VIX rolling over as well. NASDAQ still kind of like slumped over. S&P doing a lot better this morning. Why do I have that black thing there? That shouldn't be that black. I need to take a look at everything. SPY, QQQs, IWM, and we'll do Reddit. Let's get right into it. The market brief this morning. Dun 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 dun. All right, good morning out there. How y'all doing? I got a couple things I got to do. I'm running a little bit behind. Let me see here. Do I even want to like publish this on? I don't even know if I want to publish this. Hold on a second here. I don't even know if I want the audience today. Good morning. How y'all doing out there? So I have not been to sleep. I have not been drinking though. That's good. So I'm like completely sober. I think I got 2 or 3 hours of sleep last night, but we had a get shareable link. We have a family member who is giving birth, and things are not as they should be. So I have to fly out of here and take care of a family member, or not a family. I'm not doing the taking care of, but. Let me post this really quick for you. Check 1, 2. God, this sounds like kind of weird. I got a whole bunch of stuff not working here. All right. So this morning, good morning. How are you? Happy Friday out there. Good to see you this morning. Hope you had a great week. If you're a buyer, you had a wonderful week. If you're a seller, you probably had a pretty decent consolidation period, and maybe you've had a rough past couple days. And I'm assuming that if you're a seller and you're still upside down, that you want your short money back, right? Your maintenance and all that kind of stuff. And they're just not going to allow that to happen for you today, are they? Sometimes they do, but they're likely not going to allow that to happen for you today. You can actually see we're greenish right now. We're testing the half-an-hour trigger. I do expect if bulls today, let's just go over there. We'll come back to this in a minute. Hold on. Let's go to the main screen really quick. All right. So let's take a look. Right. Let's start here because we're a little bit late this morning. So it's Friday. We know that if we're in a bull market, if you read the market brief last night, you know that Fridays are kind of usually a down day, at least a little bit. Like sellers can make rent or something like that. It's like the joke. The same thing goes for bulls in a bear market. You'll tend to see Friday. If you have like a down week, you'll see Fridays are typically a week where we go up, right? Like clear out all the vol out of the market, clear out all the puts and that kind of stuff. And I think there's some of that expectation today that that'll happen. It's possible it could happen. Um, I just don't know how far down it'll go. I think there's a lot of people out there expecting like full bloodbath into today. I'm going to give the bulls a couple things here. Um, the market is supportive. Whether a bear likes that or not, the market is supportive. We'll talk about that a little bit today, but I would rather get into it more towards the weekend because we have a lot to discuss and where the market's likely heading and the importance of where it's heading, some long-term projections possibly. I don't know if so I have to fly out to out to the west this weekend in an emergency. But I'm hoping that I have that time to either do a recorded video, or some kind of explanation, like an outward projection on what to expect here, because it's been straight up, right? We know that, right? It's been straight up. It's been one line straight up. It hasn't moved. As a matter of fact, I meant to talk about this on Twitter, but I didn't. Today, I think today is supposed to be today or tomorrow. I think it's the 59th trading session of the year. Is seasonally, for the last 5 years, supposed to mark the bottom of the seasonal low. I'll try to show that to you at some point today if I have the time. But the idea here would be that we would be buying a bounce here normally for a seasonal low right in and around right around this date. And of course, we have a giant divergence in the seasonality calendar, right? We went basically we have like a full divergence from where the bottom is, and right now what people are calling the top. So I think that's a little cool factoid. People think this is the top. And in fact, this should be the seasonal low or bottom in the marketplace. And we should get some range expansion coming up here. Some range expansion sideways and up, and then a roll down. We should actually get a peak out of it in summertime. And then a roll down for volatility in the early or late summer, early fall. We probably have to talk about that stuff too, because usually you start to hear people cry that why is it not going down as we get closer to the election? We tend to actually rip into the election. And then you're going to get told that if this happens, if that happens, that the market will crash, this person's elected, or if, I don't know, you get one extra senator for the Republicans or the Democrats, all this other shit. And then they wheel out our cash and our cash-ins. They literally wheel him out, and he goes, CNBC talks about all the doom and gloom. And they wheel him out, and he goes, yeah, looks like everything's tied up. And the real truth, if you're to shorten that whole conversation down, that you're going to hear as we get closer to the election, the shortest part of that conversation is that the stock market really enjoys gridlock. And most people do. What's fascinating is even politicians love gridlock. They may sound like they want this or that, but the status quo, what's good about the status quo is that politicians, money, power can work within knowns. The stock market, believe it or not, works within a lot of knowns. Whenever something happens that the stock market can't price in, it's bad. They like to have their own volatility. They like to know what's coming. They like to be aware of what the truth is behind the scenes. You know, the Bloomberg terminal has, like, people are like, I want a Bloomberg terminal. You really don't want the Bloomberg terminal. You can kind of get a Bloomberg terminal or a Frankenstein one. You want the DM system in the Bloomberg terminal. You want to cultivate relationships with people that actually know what's going on. That's where the real value is in a Bloomberg terminal. And the same thing is similar with power, politics, money, all that kind of stuff. They want to know everything. There are books written by famous ex-bankers that talk all about how they keep offices in countries all over the world, especially if there's volatility in those countries. I try to compare them sometimes to like to like a private, almost like a private CIA or FBI or NSA. Like the banks in this country are like their own military intelligence to some extent. They know before wars happen. They know before coups happen, and they never talk about it, or they don't tell you. They already set themselves up to protect themselves or to buy or whatever. And there's some guys out there with wild ass stories. There's a story out there from one guy. I forget his name now. I think it was a GS guy, and he was in Russia. He was sent to Russia during the collapse of the USSR, and all of these now oligarchs were mafiosos. They were the Soviet government was giving away shares of companies, of national companies, to the people in Russia, and these mafiosos were paying like a penny for each share of oil and gas companies. And like GS had like an office in Moscow, and then they were buying the shares from the mafiosos. That's a true story. And U.S. companies were basically backing oil and gas companies at the first when USSR first fell. So this shit goes on all the time. And my point being, though, is we'll have to talk about that roll into the weekend, that volatility when it comes back up, that kind of stuff, and possibly some good range expansion. Whether we go up or down doesn't really matter. What really matters is if you're a seller or a bear, you're likely going to get some table scrap. I wouldn't even call it table scraps. You're likely going to get some money, right? If you're a bull, you're likely going to have to trade better. And you're likely going to have to zoom out a little bit as well, be trading the extremes again. We practiced that last week, right? 2 weeks ago, or a week or two ago, I told you we're going to walk into this volatile environment. And what did I say to you? I said, we're not going to go down, or we're not likely going to go down. It's more like a bumpy ride, right? Where there's air pockets if you're like in a plane, or if you're riding a boat in adverse weather and the ocean just falls out from underneath your boat. I don't know if you've ever been in a small boat in the ocean, but if you hit a squall, everything's fine, and then all of a sudden there's like just a dip in the water that engulfs your boat. You can't even see over the waves, and it's scary. And it makes your stomach. It's kind of like going over a hill when you're a kid and you get an upset stomach. A hill that you weren't expecting as a child with your parents. So that is likely coming. Some kind of a range expansion, like almost like a curve. Well, it's a curve, but more of like if you had like range expansion where you had like downside, it's gonna be more flat on the bottom and then more up to the top. And the market needs to get there, whether you like it or not. The market needs to get up there and trade 550, 560, get a nice roll down, and then try to trade 6,000 into the end of the year. This is likely the end. I'm going to tell you a simple way to look at this. There's a really easy way to see this. There's a housing market that's 18 years. If you speak to people in real estate, they talk about it frequently. There's a 9-year cycle, but then there's a super cycle that's 18 years. And the last one was in 07, 08. And we're coming into one, I believe, in 2026. So all that will get front run, right? You can kind of see the market front running, knowing this is coming. They're not going to tell you this. You can kind of see it. And I was actually looking yesterday at CTA flows, and they were loading the fuck up in October, right, of 23. They just knew what was happening. That they know it's coming. They know when it's coming down the road. They're not going to tell you why it's coming. It's coming. So at least that's my view. I don't think I'm the only one with that view either. But it sure as shit is singing like it. It's smelling like it. It's looking like it. How we moved up this fast and this high looks like it. If you don't think we're in a bubble, we are. Now people say, well, a bubble's bad. I hear people say that they'll be like, bubble, it's bad. The truth is, that's how it happens. And you either catch that right up, or you don't. And if you don't catch that right up, you're going to miss all that money. And when it does roll over, you can be there and ready for it to crash. Whenever the bubble is done being ridden up. And I can relate this to somebody. See that guy back there? See that guy right there? You know what that guy did? That guy missed out on a ton of money. during the fraud. And not only that, it cost him a ton of money to stay in the fraud. And even when he got paid, if you look at the amount of money that he spent to get paid and what he actually got paid, he missed out on so much money for his investors. So if you want to do that, that's fine. I mean, I get it. Or maybe you're better at being a seller. I got some stuff going on this morning. I can hear an echo. And that's fine if you operate better that way. But if you're listening to people tell you that you should wait, you probably shouldn't. Now, I don't mean right now at this moment. I'm saying to you, this is likely the last bull run for a period of time. And when we have those moments, the roll down lasts. It's like 3 years. Then there's a consolidation phase. Those things are like 3 to 5 years. Now they are generational buying opportunities, but not for me, right? That's going to be a generational buying opportunity for someone that's a lot younger than me, possibly younger than you, when it happens. I'll likely be cycling out at that time period. So, we're doing here for this. You're also going to hear some people out there tell you that that the bull market will continue. That's highly improbable. It's possible it could happen in 25. It could extend into 2025, maybe March, maybe that whole year. But I wouldn't bet my future on it because that housing market, once that thing rolls, it's going to be hot sauce. It's going to be seriously hot sauce. So enjoy the ride while it happens. There was something else I wanted to say last night too, which was, I was reading a post by, who was it? I was reading a post by, and I like this guy a lot, actually. Let me see if I can find his post. What's his name here? I don't know why I always forget his name, because I've known him forever. Hold on a second here. He made a really good post. It was very, very candid. I don't know where it is. Did he delete it? I hope he didn't delete it. He might have deleted it. Let me check this. I hope he didn't delete it. He didn't. It was QE Infinity. And QE Infinity made a post on Twitter and he said, I felt like this last night. Oh, no, that wasn't me. I said that. He said, I'm pretty paralyzed on what to do with this market now after the run we've had. Anyone else feeling this way? And I get that feeling. It's like a sense of like impending doom, a sense of impending, the market's going to crash. The market's going to do this. The market's going to do that, all that kind of stuff. And the only thing that I can tell you about that is, you really want to be not just the price action trader, but if you see price go below the hourly trigger, if you see the hourly trigger head down with price, that's cause for concern for a pullback. If you break through the daily trigger with price and the hourly trigger, and the daily trigger doesn't fall, it's more of a stretch. You ever hear of like price stretching? You ever heard that term out there? That's just stretching of price. But if you see price break below the daily trigger with the hourly trigger, and the daily trigger follows price, that's bad. There's some other things to look for too in monthly and quarterly, weekly too, like the timing of weekly, a rolling down of positive velocity on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and on a quarterly basis to some extent, where you can predict a crash. Now, when you do crash, or if there is a crash, or not just a correction, there's always a check back. And there's always signals that it's happening. And if we do crash, you don't need to be the first person that calls it. There's someone famous. I'm not gonna say their name here because I don't know if any of you know this. Some of you might. Don't call them out here in the show. I don't want you to. But there's a high follow person on Twitter who went by a few, 3 or 4 or 5 different Twitter names. And he was calling for crashes all the time. Never got one. Finally called one and famous now, right? And I like this guy a lot. He's great. I got nothing, no will towards this guy at all. Nothing at all. But my point here is that you trade as an investor or market participant, as an investor, you trade the market that's in front of you. And especially if you're in a bull market, you trade it up. Especially in a bull market, trade it up until it fails. You know, if you start at the bottom trading it up, by the time you get up there and it starts to roll down, you're not so bad off if the roll does happen. And you just have to be able to identify a pullback, identify a correction, and identify a crash as they happen. You don't want to be the person out there fucking pointing your finger and saying this is the top, this is that. Whenever someone says that, I don't take a lot. Some of them I take serious, but most of them I don't. If it's shit posting, that's fine. But the fact is that you don't want to be doing that with your money. You will lose it all. Point blank. You don't need to yell about it or anything like that. You will lose all your money. You will take trades and get destroyed. So you trade the market up. If you're a bear or just a seller, you can trade the pullbacks. But be aware of like what a pullback is. Be aware of what a correction is. Be aware of what a confirmed correction is. Be aware of what the start of a crash looks like. And even myself, the reason I'm bringing that up is because I was reading his commentary last night, or I think it was last night. No, it was this morning, 5 hours ago. I've been awake for all night long. But the point would be is that you trade what's in front of you. You try to get rid of that anxiety. And when it does roll over, we'll trade it together. We'll trade it down. We'll trade it up. You might not see me buy a ton of puts. You might see me trade the squeezes. I do better at that. I do better at buying calls. I work better as a bull. If you work better as a bear, you might shine during that period as a seller, right? So you do your thing when you're shining, but at the same time, you should be aware of where we are, where the market is positioned. So if you feel like that out there, I understand. I completely understand why you feel like that. I completely understand why you're looking back into October and you're like, I can't trade this anymore. I understand that feeling. I don't think he's the only one that thinks that either. I think that there are a lot of people out there that feel the same way. I think people are tired to an extent. It's so much winning. I mean, the Bears haven't had a fucking chance, man. They had one correction, right? But it was still just a correction. They just had one correction. Traded it down, came right back, no big deal. Anyways, I don't even think they got a correction. I think it was just a pullback. I think it just went to the daily trigger. It might have went to the weekly. I can't remember. Anyways, we're sitting here on a Friday, right? Wouldn't it be fancy if they traded this sideways? Didn't pay any of these puts, didn't allow any of these shorts to close out for the weekend. Look at the market right now. It's just parked here. It's sitting on the hourly trigger, and it's not going anywhere. We're stuck between the half an hour trigger and the hourly trigger. We had some of this yesterday. There is one key point you could take away from the price action at this moment is that we're not on trend early. So let's think about that too, right? We're diddle in the middle. Right now, we're not moving higher. There's no trend up today, right? You don't see any trend going up right now. We're just kind of stuck here. We had a high back here at 5:23.12. This was at 7 a.m. right? Then they dropped it down. Didn't quite get the 5:24, 5:26. That's what I want to see, by the way. Into the close at some point today. I want to see 5:24, 5:26. So hasn't happened yet. If we get above this range right here, I'm going to draw this in for you. So just right now, right, you got this range right here. And we're going to talk about what to expect into Monday. Show you some stuff. Now, if you're a bull or a bear, you want to get below, right? You want to get below this, start trading it down. You don't have a ton of stuff you have to beat over here, so we'll start trading this bad boy down. If you're a bull, you know the rules, right? You want to break above here, come back down, and start the turn to the upside. Let's see if I can bring this over slightly more. We'll draw one more little box right here, right in there, right? right there. Make that one yellow. We'll make this one yellow too. You shall not pass, kinda. If you start to see price, though, head higher. This is a pretty good chart last night. We traded right down to the hourly trigger at like 6 or 7. I was like, fuck yeah. I'm like, they're going to think this chart looks weird because it was all stretched out. I'm like, they're going to think I'm a weirdo with this chart tomorrow morning. But anyways, what you're looking for here is you're going to be looking for what? For something like that right there. Come back down over here and start to make your way higher, okay? Remember this right here. If you're a bull, you want to be above right there. You want to beat that previous high right over here. My thesis here is still bullish. If you want to know, I'm not bearish in any way. And I want to also say one more thing to you, which would be, volatility does not necessarily mean crash. It doesn't necessarily mean correction either. I gotta say that to you. If the bulls can hold 5,200, even if we dip down to 5,000 and bounce straight back up, don't get crazy. If you're a bull or a bear and you're out there, you're gonna hear this like mantra with range expansion that the market's gonna crash. You have the tools to know if it's gonna crash. You have the tools to know if it's a pullback. You have the tools to know if it's a correction. Don't drink that Kool-Aid shit. We're in a bull market. And we are in a bull run that's epic right now. Okay? Be conscious of that. Be conscious of the fact that when these hold on a second here. Also be conscious of the fact that unlike you, right? You can exit the market quite quickly. CTAs, banks, you name it, right? All these institutional investors, they can't sell all at once. It takes them time to sell. It's like one of those Zambonis from that movie there, just driving slowly towards you. It's not all at once. So you have some time to see it coming typically. Sometimes you don't. If there's an event that is not priced in, you might not see it. Even COVID, though, Ackman came out and said something. Even COVID, there was a day or two where we ricocheted straight up. And there was still an orderly exit provided, even in COVID. If you look closely at COVID, I don't know if you guys were all trading during COVID. There was ample opportunity. Not only that, we knew in 2019 that we were headed towards. Did you guys know that? We were headed towards a recession. We were due for a recession when COVID happened. That was a known thing then. So you kind of know. We saw 2022 roll over. We knew that was coming. Matter of fact, you could tell a year before they were divesting spec growth while the indexes kept going up. Traders switched from spec growth to indexes. So there's fair warning. There's fair fucking warning. I was making posts back then to divest. Then I was making posts about divesting from Apple and all that stuff. You see it. So if you haven't seen it before, it's not that hard to see. Now, can we have a flash crash like we did in '87? Yeah. Do we do that anymore? No. Are there other things that stop us from having that happen today? Yes. There are limit down switches now that stop any kind of continuation. If you try to go back and look, and I heard a guy the other day was like, crash 1997. I was like, the fuck are you talking about? That shit doesn't happen anymore. Not since 1970 something. I'm like, dude, we don't like if you go back and look at if you go back and look pre-computer, yeah, we would go down 200-300 points in a day, 500 points in a day. And I know all about Trump. I was there for all that shit too. Circuit breaker. But there's still a fucking circuit breaker. You know what I'm saying? It's still a fucking circuit breaker. You got time. It's not gonna be like that. Sorry, I'm still sick. Now it's like all on my fucking face and my whatever. So just relax, chill out, easy. Okay, just easy with the market. You're gonna give all your money back from 2022 if you don't. You really are. I should repost that fucking Twitter post when I had the fingers pointed with the baseball bat on Twitter. Because I knew that was the bottom that day, by the way. It was like 4 a.m. The fucking Bears were screaming. It was like one of us, or it was like maybe two. I think it was me and Jedi mostly. We were like, that's the fucking bottom right there. But just chill. Even the GFC. So like the GFC, I lived in Vail. I lived in Vail with those guys. I actually knew some of those guys from Enron. I used to ski with them. They used to hang out. They used to hang out at the same restaurants, and they hung out. You saw them leave, not just them. You saw all the wealth leave. When you look at like real wealth, they disappear and they stop spending money. They still spend money, but not quite like that. You can see it. You can see it like unmowed lawns. You can see your friends are all getting divorced. You're probably even struggling yourself. You know what it's like? It's like if you're a retail trader and you see something and you're like, oh, why does my kid play with that? And then you find out that like the stock started at $1 and it went to $300, and you're like, oh, I could be a stock picker. I see all kinds of this stuff around me, and I know it's going to be a fad that's going to go to the moon, right? And if you have that same awareness around real recessions and your job opportunities and your family life and your neighbors and work and all this other stuff, the writing gets on the wall. One that I always used was when you start to have good service in a restaurant, good service staff, things are bad out there. When service sucks in restaurants, it means things are good out there. It means they can't find quality help. Quality help will get laid off, or there's not enough jobs for them, for new jobs, and they will go work in professions that pay very well like their normal professions so that they can pay the bills. I'm not seeing any of that out there. Service sucks right now. Blows. It really sucks bad. Can't even get cooks anymore. Good cooks, good commis, good chefs these days because people have exited that business, right? They are working somewhere else right now. Okay, so beyond all that kind of crap, that's what I want. That's the first thing I wanted to go over. Over the weekend, you're going to get a large brief from me, and I'm going to give you an extended look for the year. What to expect for most of the rest of the year. Something like it. Weekly chart, maybe a weekly chart, a daily chart, and an hourly chart, so you can see the difference of opinion on the three different outlooks, and also where we're headed. There's some range expansion coming now, and it's not bearish. That's the key point. Now, what does that mean for us as a group? As traders and investors, it likely means that we are going to, once again, trade the extremes. So that would mean that we're going to spend a lot less time on, we'll trade minute charts. We'll still day trade, but we are going to focus each day on, like, this is where the real buyers are. This is where the real sellers are. And we're not going to get tied into, how like when we're trading smaller time frames and you got bears like, it's an all-time high again, it's going to crash. It's an all-time high again, it's going to crash. It's an all-time high again, it's going to crash. It's an all-time high again, it's going to crash. And you get a bull that's like, I'm afraid to buy the dip, it might be the top. I'm afraid to buy the dip, it might be the top. All fucking day long, that's all you hear, right? You hear from the bulls, you hear from the bears. In this environment, it's a little bit easier. You can be like, yeah, this looks like we're topping. And yeah, this looks like a good bottom I can wait for to buy. So it should be hopefully I think it's going to be a little bit less stressful for bears and bulls. I'm hoping that there's less stress because I don't think it's just bears going through stress right now. I think there's a lot of stress from bulls and bears. I think retailers in general. I see even pros out there that are like, like what the fuck is going on? Uh, so I think people are like at that point where like just slow it down a little bit. Can we get a sell? Can we get a buy? Can we get a sell? Or at least that's the sentiment out there. Okay, so with that said, right? With that said, what would be the expectation into Monday? Or I think I showed this to some people last night. Let's take, hi, Kitty. It's good to see you. You're frisky, I can see. Let's see if we can take a look at a few things and see if that can give you some better perspective. Some of you probably have already seen this. Some of you probably haven't. You can get this stuff anywhere. You can get it on Thinkorswim. You can get it on. Tasty. I don't think you can get it on like Weeble and shit. But let's look at. Hi, Kitty. You need some lovies. So hold on here. Let's see if I can get you. Let's see if I can show this really quick. So, Captain screen. Let me. Yeah, this isn't gonna help, is it? So let me make this a little bit smaller. Whoop, right up there. Let's make that small. Hi, Kitty. So I want you to see that. I want you to see that vol comes down specifically into the 25th. That's Monday. And it slowly starts to rise, right? Comes back down in the first, and then it continues to rise here into early April. So that doesn't necessarily say that the market is going to crash, does it? There's no like vol curve here that's like straight up like this, is it? It's just kind of a like volatility drops into Monday, are expected to drop. This changes, by the way. This is just a prediction. It's not real. Well, some people claim that it is, but it does give you an idea of what's coming down the pike. Okay, which is volatility. Slowly increase volatility as we head into end of month. Drop off on the first. End of month fuckery, right? As a matter of fact, do you guys know why that is right there to me? Why I see that? End of month flows in here, right? Or end of quarter flows when the banks come out and do their hedging. You'll see a dip in the opening of the market, but they bought a bunch of 0-day calls. We actually rip up into the last day of the month. Sorry, I'm losing my voice here. I really am losing my voice. But you still see increased volatility, right? This isn't implying at all. This is April 10th. This is not implying a crash or anything like that. So the point that I'm trying to make to you is that the hold on, main screen here. The point I'm trying to make to you is that into early April, right? Don't be expecting like super crash. Markets going to the hell in a handbasket, any of that kind of stuff from the vol curve heading into the next 10 days or so. Still stuck in the middle right here. Still stuck. This is the old Mr. Yen stuff, right? Stuck in the middle with you, grinding it out, killing all the call premium, but not paying the bears. So just back and forth. Not a whole hell of a lot going on this morning. So you'll get an extended look at what to expect in the coming weeks and months. It may not hold true in a month or two, but it's at least going to give you an outlook on what to expect as time moves forward. Next thing here, let's look at here, let me move this over for a minute. Whoop. Oh boy, Reddit. Panic the Reddit mods down here. We do have a 1 in 5 minute trigger right now on Reddit. So you can intraday trade this if you want on your own. Reddit mods panicking down there. Price below the 1 minute sell, right? We're gonna get rid of this completely because you guys know how to trade the 1 and 5 minute crosses. Just delete that. You guys know exactly what to do in the 1 and 5 minute trigger at this point. You know everything is going to be trading off the zeros and the fives on Reddit. Below this, we get the Reddit mods start panicking down there. if you were able to buy Reddit at $31 $34. I should write. There should be two levels of panic. There should be panic at with the opening price, and then there should be panic at the $31 to $34 range, because then they're really going to start selling. As far as Reddit goes, I'd really like to see it trade at least $100, maybe even more, 200, 300. But ultimately, hold on, I need more water. I'm losing my voice, guys, gals. Ultimately, I want to see it get shorted into the ground. I want to see it go to fucking zero, okay? Not zero, like $5 maybe. 10. All right, I'll take 10. Take 10 fucking dollars. So there's that. Then the next thing we have here is SPX. This is the one that I really want you to see here. Your local resistance is at 5,300. Oh, you can't see that. Hold on. Your local resistance down below here, or support, is down here. Oh, God damn it. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Oh, here we go. Your local support is down below here. Local support's roughly at 510, 5075. Now, if you have like a, hey, we're coming down into support, right? This is actual support right here. But like, ooh, we got an extension or closed the gap and headed up higher. So you're basically a buyer of dips, is my point down here. Anything down here, we are still buyers of dips until that regime changes and we get some put. See, there's no put gamma down here. Until we get some put gamma down below, this market is supportive. I want you to be aware of that, even heading into next week. So any low that you can get, you're looking to buy. We recommend that you buy. You're not a seller. You're a buyer of dips, not a seller of rips right now. And the upside developed up into 5,400. There we go again, flipping again. The upside has already developed to 5,400. We start to get more development and filling in above here, and we will begin to head higher. So what does this mean for you? Here's April and stuff like that. Let's switch that down. As of right now, it looks more like this, right? Something like that over there. You know what I'm saying? Something like this. Oh, that's a little exaggerated, but let's just do a path here. Something more like this. And violent drops. Boom, traded up. Violent drops. Boom, traded up. Violent drops. Boom, traded up. Boom, traded up. And likely while this is all happening, you're gonna get a sneaky trade in small caps. And what does this lead up to? Like, why am I even saying this to you is because what does this lead up to? It leads up into two things. A sell the news moment. It leads up into what? It leads up into a potential rate cut in June, right? That would be a sell the news event because they ramped IWM. It would be a sell the news event if they don't rate cut rates, right? If they don't cut rates, IWM is going to go down. Like big red bars. So what do you do right now? You ramp it up. What else is happening right now? We have companies with great PE, I guess you would say bad PE ratios, but have great projections for growth and profit. GDP still looks strong. So you ramp up earnings with that as well. Earnings start in what, 3 weeks? And we're here, right? So they ramp this shit up into earnings. It's a nice bow tie, isn't it? Ramp it up in earnings. Get your bullshit Fed meeting coming out in June, and you start selling. You get what I'm saying? Like, the earnings are almost ending. You got the Fed meeting, chair meeting, and all that stuff. And then, boom, before you know it, we're selling off into the end of summer. And all of a sudden, the story changes too, right? Whether we get a rate increase or not, I don't care. But the story starts to change. You get the summer blues, summer doldrums. We're taking naps on stream together. And then we switch over into election volatility. That's a shit show, right? It's a complete fucking shit show. That shit's going to invade our chat. I'm going to be handing out bans to people. I'm going to turn off Twitter. I already know it. I already know I'm going to be unfollow, and I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. I'm going to unfollow your ass or I'll mute you for this. I have done that too in the past. Mute people. Fuck you. I don't want to hear it, right? And it's going to get nasty. It's going to be round the clock, 24-hour news. As a matter of fact, 2 or 3 weeks ago, when they were doing the TikTok shit, I watched the news organizations asking Trump to weigh in on it. And the first thing that came to my mind, what was the first thing that came to my mind? They're testing to see if he has an impact on the stock market right now. So they don't care. They just want to know, like, can we get some doom and gloom on the stock market? Can I get some bylines for you? Can you make anything happen by us checking? And they're gonna do that more and more and more and more and more and more and more. And the Senate's gonna do it. And the fucking House of Reps are gonna do it. And it's gonna be a shit show. So it's a whole entire circus production that they have to form and get all this shit out of the way for it to happen. And you're likely gonna see the market crash down, not crash, but a major ass correction due to that. Oh, we got a little bit of rug pull going on here. So just kind of consider that stuff as time moves on. Ooh, yeah. Ooh. Can we get a rug? Let's check it out. So anyways, that's the future. About September, I think it'll be done before September. Maybe September, late August. I have to look at it again, but I think what happens is if I'm wrong on this, remind me. But I think basically you expect it to happen into the election, and it stops earlier. Then they start ramping into the election, and then people are all like, "What about everybody told me it was going to crash?" And it's like just ramping up, and then they're like, "Don't worry, bro, it's going to crash when they find out who becomes president." And then it just keeps ramping, and then it ramps again, and it keeps ramping, and ramps to the end of the year because the election vol is over, and then it lasts into like March. Like it doesn't stop. It just keeps fucking going. Oh yeah, there isn't too much here. Look at this. Let's tighten this up a little bit. Because bears, look at this. This is gorgeous down here. Let's check this out. Let's go look at this together. Oh yeah, look at that juice down there. Ooh. These fucking bears, they want it today. They're like, all my bear bro friends went away for the weekend. Why don't you just give the money to us when nobody's here? I'll put that one in right there. Ooh. Oh, yeah, that's sexy. Ooh, just give me that. Like you ask a bear and he's like, I just want that, Cap. I don't need all this, just that. Then we get down here. And they're like, all right, I need that too, Cap, down there. I want that too, Captain. I want that now too, Captain. I want it all. They were doing it last night. Mero was on, like everybody, all the PJ Bears were out last night. They were just like all sweaty. They wanted the whole thing last night. I was like, they're gonna trap these fucking bears.